Hey guys, welcome back to another session of S4. Today I'm going to be dedicating this review to my sister-in-law. One of her favorite movies was Ever After, a Cinderella story. It was originally released on July 31st, 1998. So I know an older movie and a summer movie. So summer movies are a little bit more fun and frothy and not as like nitty gritty or real as some people like. So you gotta be prepared for your expectations. The brothers Grimm arrive at the home of a wealthy noblewoman who tells the tale of her ancestor, the little Cinder Girl, around which so many legends and stories have been told. So let's dive right in. I am with my sister in law on this. I love this movie as well. I give it an 8 out of 10. It is a fun movie to watch and enjoy. The lighting in it, everything just feels so perfectly lit. It's bright and cheery, and it feels like a fairy tale. When you can see everything, even in the darkness, and everything is illuminated, I don't know, it just feels like storytelling magic at its best. This movie had great instrumental sections and some really fun period style music to give you a sense that we have traveled back in time. Now, I'm not a music historian though, so I'm no expert. And maybe an expert would be saying, well, actually, the lute wasn't played that way in the 16th century, but I enjoyed it nonetheless. The costumes were so beautiful and so memorable. Fun fact, I actually saw a traveling exhibit that had both the prince's costume and the baroness's costume on display at a museum. And it made me wonder, what does it take for a costume to become famous, so much so that it gets put on display? And is it something that we only do with period pieces where the costumes are so distinctive? I don't know. I was curious. The sets are really done well. You get this feeling that you've gone back in time and it just transforms where we are and what we're feeling. Now, everything was maybe a little too clean and crisp to be an authentic period piece. Yeah, I mean, that's a legitimate argument to make. But I did wonder, are we really going back in time, or are we living out the story that the Brothers Grimm are telling? The only thing that really kind of was jarring for me, I don't know if it was jarring for anyone else, was the body glitter at the ball. Did that feel off to anyone? And also, the next morning, it's completely gone. That isn't how glitter works. Now, I'm not a stripper, but every time I've used glitter on a school project, I was finding glitter and sneezing it for the next 2 days minimum. The story is a great story, and it's a retelling of a story that we may have heard another version of first. Does it get rid of the fairy godmother and the magic pumpkin and the talking animals? Yes. Did I miss them? Only a little. Instead, we get to see this real life Cinderella, a this could have happened type of situation. Although, come on, glass shoes, that's gotta be super uncomfortable. Although in this one, is it just me or did only the tops of the shoe appear to be made of glass and the base was more like a normal shoe? I also loved the big reveal at the ball. I felt that was much more realistic, as well as actually finding her by asking people where she is rather than, well, let me just put this random shoe on every girl I can find. That'll work. But it was a love story, and a love story about how a woman's love could make the spoiled prince a better man. And I don't know. I enjoyed that. I am a huge Drew Barrymore fan, so I love this movie. She's actually claimed that this is one of her favorite films that she's done. I don't know if it's mine, but it's up there. Her and Angelica Houston make this movie. They have this on screen tension between them that feels very real and yet encapsulates the entire stepmother stepdaughter standoff we've come to expect from this story. The guy playing the Prince Charming did fine, but honestly, I think another moderately good looking guy in the same costume with a medium level of acting skills could have pulled off the same performance. But I will say this, both Prince Henry and Danielle did have great on screen chemistry, and you spend the movie rooting for them. The sisters were great, and it was nice to see that one stepsister doesn't get completely sucked into, hey, let's terrorize this 8-year old girl who's basically an orphan and completely dependent on us now. They didn't try really hard to have super French sounding accents, which may have had some of you saying, well, that lacks authenticity, but I appreciate it. There's nothing more distracting when the accent is so thick you can barely understand what they are saying. In my opinion, the casting job was perfect. There's no one I could see doing this any better, and a lot of changes I think would have potentially taken the movie down a notch, not lifted it up a notch. My favorite moments? Oh, gosh. There's way too many to choose from, but it's gotta be a Baroness quote. Whether it's, after all that I have, and after all that I've done, it's never enough. Or, well, nothing's final until you're dead, and even then I'm sure God negotiates. She's got so many great quotes that just stick with you. I've never had the chance to tell someone, how can one love a pebble in their shoe? But I've got it in my back pocket for when that moment arrives. It's also really sweet when Danielle saves the prince by picking him up and carrying him. And when he tries to rescue her, she's already freed herself. So, talk about girl power. You don't need a man to solve your problems. Drew Barrymore, she proves, hey, Danielle knows how to solve her own problems. This movie also passes the Bechdel test, which is impressive because there are lots of movies that don't. In this movie, we get to see the Mona Lisa, or a version of it, I should say. We meet Leonardo da Vinci. He belittles himself, complimenting Michelangelo instead. Now we just need a cameo of Donatello and Raphael to make it a real party. The quote, "The bird may love a fish," seems to be a nod to the old saying that a bird can no more teach a fish to swim than a fish can teach a bird to fly. A saying that some have challenged because there are birds that swim and there are fish that jump out of the water as if they're flying. But I think it's trying to capture a greater truth that some people can't teach you to do something that is innately instinctive to them when you are not equipped to do so as well. While I was watching this, I do feel like both of the families need to be in family therapy. The prince and his parents would benefit from it, but the Baroness, her daughters, and Danielle need it. Oh my gosh, there's so much tension and cruelty. And you get where some of it is coming from. The Baroness feels like she married a man that didn't really love her, and instead he loved his daughter. Of course, for therapy to work, everyone has got to commit themselves to the process. And I don't see the Baroness doing that. Even when she's lost everything and she's been made a servant, she proudly states, I'm management. That level of self-importance and dilution, I don't know, it isn't really conducive to personal growth. While I was watching this, there weren't really any sex scenes. There's only a little bit of drinking and a couple of fist thrones and no drugs. So, is the movie family friendly? I would say that it is. There might be stuff younger kids wouldn't get, but there wasn't really a lot of profanity or imagery that would scare a young child. They might be bored, but boredom won't scar a little kid. This is a movie that I've seen, I don't know, maybe a dozen times, if not more. I'll put it on sometimes when I'm homesick from work, and I'm usually asleep before grown up Cinderella ever shows up. So I don't even get to see Drew Barrymore. But it's perfect background noise. Don't get me wrong, I'm just as likely to put on a movie like Lord of the Rings or Star Wars to lull me to sleep when I'm sick, but ever after, I keep it in the mix. It's easy to put on and tune in and out and still know what's going on. Maybe it's because we all know the story of Cinderella, or maybe because it's so easy to follow. The plot is pretty straightforward and linear. Did anyone else, though, as we approach the end of it, wonder how many other arranged marriages have girls openly weeping at the altar? That's gotta be a downer on your wedding day, right? Of course, a wedding starting in tears is probably better than one ending in a tearful divorce or a beheading. I mean, I did love the Queen of France's divorce is only something they do in England, and how that was a clever allusion to Henry VIII. Because, whew, I think some of his wives wished they hadn't married the king. I gotta say, if you get a chance to see this movie, you gotta see it. It didn't win any Oscars or Golden Globes, but for me, a movie doesn't need a bunch of accolades to enjoy it. And hopefully the same is for you too. If a movie distracts me, if it comforts me, if it makes me laugh or makes me think, that's all I really care about. Again, Ever After, 9 out of 10. Well, no, more an 8 out of 10. Is there a better version of Cinderella out there? Let me know in the comments. This is Steven with S4, wishing you all a happily ever after.